What's going on, y'all? I'm your host, Steve Holmes. You are watching another episode of The Real. Thank you all, man, for joining me again. I know it's been a little bit of a go at it the last couple of weeks. Man, let me tell you something. This show almost didn't happen tonight. I had quite a week. I was kind of down and out of it, and it almost jammed me up tonight, but thankfully, I'm able to be with you all and do our thing here. A whole lot going on, mostly surrounding the search for our new president, and I've got a lot to share with you on that and how things are going and some of the things I've been hearing. And I think there's some things I'll mention and some things I'll stay away from, just so that I don't cause any ruckus, if you know what I mean. But before we jump into any of that, listen, if you have not subscribed to the show, please do me a favor and subscribe. And if you see us on Instagram, make sure you're liking our pages. I have kind of a goal I've been trying to reach with like all of the channels. And so, just so you know, I'm at about 280 something, 87, I think, on YouTube. 500 is the first goal I'm trying to get to for YouTube. And we actually steadily, week by week, I'm adding a few followers every so often. So that's been pretty good. And we're on TikTok too. So it's mostly just videos, of course. But we actually have more TikTok followers than we have YouTube. And I don't even be on TikTok that much. I post some videos there. But that's been growing. Instagram, we're at 2,100. We've been trying to get to 5,000 for a year, y'all. And I know it's a gajillion Wildcats out there. So please do me a favor. If you might think you're following us, but maybe you're not. Maybe the algorithm is showing you stuff. Please follow us. Same thing here with YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and that just helps us out, man. We're trying to grow. We're trying to scale, and you guys are, for the ones who tune in, I mean, that's the most important part, right? So I think as far as, we don't have a guest this week, and I'll tell you why. I mentioned earlier, I was ill Tuesday, Wednesday, and a little bit today, and I got just enough energy. I went to the gym, and I said I need to work this demon up out of me. So I went to the gym this morning, and felt like, all right, I've kind of worked it out of me, so I'm gonna do the show. But I was supposed to have, and I think I mentioned it last week, John Crossman was supposed to join. Unfortunately, the schedule, he ended up, and I think they're doing, the Orlando alumni have a meeting tonight. They're meeting, and he's speaking at that event. I'm pretty sure that's going on now. And so he wasn't able to be here tonight. So what happened was, we talked, and I said, well, let's just pre-record the show. And this was last week. I'm like, let's pre-record the show like we did with Mr. Wells, but let's do it on Wednesday night. He was like, cool, let's do it. Well, I got sick. So last night we didn't record the show. I didn't have it to even do it. And so we he and I had a call last night. And because I really was interested in what was happening with the search, and he told me as much as he could without compromising or doing anything with the search. And I asked a bunch of questions I thought you all may want to know. I'll share as much of that as I can here shortly. But as I always do, I want to thank the real MVPs for the week, for the month. Adrian, Wanda, Jason, Theron, Marcy, Gerard, Kathy, Will, Donovan, Breon, and Derek. Y'all know I appreciate y'all. Last week, and here's a really cool story about how you guys end up helping me help somebody else. And the last, the show, we asked for contributions, which I greatly appreciate and I need to just kind of help chug this thing along. But last week we had the students on the show, and they they did so good, man. I'm really proud of them. Seagal Buchanan, Caden Anglin, and Ben McDonald. Those were the three students we had on last week, and they were like fantastic. So all the money that you guys donated last week, I gave it to them. Ended up being $120. I split it three ways, gave it to the kids, and they were grateful for it. And I'm thankful. We had a couple big donors last week, but I didn't keep a dime of it. I gave it all to them because, number one, they're college kids, so y'all know they probably are slumming it right now in the dorms and in the college life. So they needed it a lot more than I do. And so that's how you guys can help me. So when you guys are contributing to the show, there's so many ways you're helping me help somebody else, even if you're not helping me directly, contribute to the show. So I'm thankful for you all. Adrian, Wanda, Jason, Theron, Marcy, Gerard, Kathy, Will, Donovan, Breon, and Derek. I thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. If you want to be mentioned as one of our real MVPs, listen, our thing is right at the bottom of the screen. I can't over there. Yeah. The Cash App is down there at the bottom. Listen, $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, doesn't matter. We're gonna dump it back into the show. We're gonna help keep going, and be happy if you guys could be a part of that. So we're gonna talk a little bit of sports for a quick second, because I don't think you all have been paying attention, because I haven't been paying attention, and I try my best to keep up with sports. But our Wildcats are in sole first place in baseball for the SWAC, and they are the only team right now that has an above 500 record. For the people that don't follow sports, you're either in three spots with your record. You're either below 500, at 500, or above 500. And basically, when you're at 500, you won the same amount of games as you lost. It's half. And obviously, if you're above 500, you won more than you lost. And below, you lost more than you won. And we're the only team in a SWAC that has an above 500 overall record. I think that's the case. In Jackson State. But we're 25-17 overall. They're 16. And we're 16-2 in the SWAC. We got to bring it home this year. I think last year we lost to FAM in the tournament. So not this year. Not this year. We want to take them boys down, get them up out of here. And I think that'll be good. If y'all are here in the comments, say something so I know you're there. Listen, I got no guests tonight, so we can talk. If you got questions, if you got comments, throw them up in the chat, and let's do our thing. So my social reaction tonight, and if you don't mind, let me park here for a second. This is important, and I think it matters to HBCUs, and I don't know if anybody else is blowing the horn on this, but this will be a clip this will be a segment I'm going to clip and make sure I post it on our other segments, because I want as many people to hear this and share it. There's an article on The Guardian, and the stories has made its rounds on the news outlets, and it says U.S. universities faculty unite to defend academic freedoms after Trump's attacks. Now, if you have been following the news, you know that Donald Trump has been relentlessly attacking academia. And schools like Harvard and Columbia and Yale, they have drew the ire of the man we call the President of the United States. And here's why that matters. What has happened is these institutions have decided that because of what the president is trying to do to their not just to their institutions, but to the idea of academic freedom, they're raising the alarm bells and saying, "Hey, we need to make sure we can insulate ourselves from financial damage or retribution from this administration, because it looks like they're trying to monitor and dictate what can and what can't be taught on our college campuses." Now, you think some of these schools, and this particular thing is with within the Big Ten, and the Big Ten consists of about 16 or 17 schools now. Well, what they've done is all of the schools in the Big Ten have rallied together, and this is done by the faculty, and they've created a compact that says if the president attacks one of these schools, we've got the resources of all the schools to defend that. I want you to understand what I just said. 10 schools in the Big Ten thought it was important enough that they put their rivalries and their competitive nature aside and say, hey, there's an issue. Let's make sure we stick together in the event that the president decides to knock one of us down. Why do I bring that up? I'm glad you asked. What plans do HBCUs have? What do we do when they inevitably come for our institutions and we have nowhere near the resources that those schools have in order to defend themselves? They basically created a defense fund so that they can litigate. Now, I will say that because they're doing that, most institutions will fall up under any litigation that ends up going to the Supreme Court. So we would benefit from them litigating these things. But it's important that HBCUs do not fall asleep at the wheel. I know we love talking about my HBCU better than yours, and Howard this, and Jackson State that, and Spelman this, and Bethune-Cookman that. Listen, when it comes to this and academic freedoms, I think it's very important that we get a plan together as HBCUs so we don't suffer any type of setbacks because of this current administration. And what they've done, if you guys are paying attention and have been making the rounds on social, and the White House has made this executive order for HBCUs. If you read through it, it is a bunch of, here's my curse word for the night, bullshit. So if you read through it one time, that's all it is. It's stuff they did from the first administration that they're just trying to bring into this current administration. There's nothing new that they're doing. It's just touchy-feely, goobly words that will make people that don't know how to read feel good about the Trump administration's efforts to help bolster up our schools and our universities. Don't fall for it. They will come after us just as sure as hell is hot. All right. And I just want us to be prepared for that. And so I know that was a bit of a long social reaction, but that as soon as I saw that story, I thought immediately about Bethune-Cookman. I thought immediately about Edward Waters, Clark, Fayetteville State, Langston, Kentucky State, the smaller schools, right? Let's not talk about the school up north and the Southerns and the Jacksons and the A&Ts, where they're state schools, they're well funded. Those schools are cool, but we are a couple of angry politicians away from them taking their focus off of those Big Ten schools. You see what they did with DEI, right? Let them let HBCUs draw their ire even a little bit, and that could be, that could be catastrophic for us. And I just don't want us to fall flat-footed. So let's keep that on the front of our plates, and let's keep discussing it. Listen, the Love Tea, man, y'all have been going crazy on this. The orders started rolling in on Wednesday, and you guys have been doing the thing, buying the shirt. I think I have the link. I don't know if I have it in the chat, but let me put it back in the chat. I see it up on the screen, but I want to make sure that y'all have it. It's also in the link to purchase it directly. I'm sorry, y'all. I just want to make sure I can copy this link and put it in the chat for y'all. There it is. The shirt, it's $35 to purchase the shirt. This is one of our specialty limited edition shirts that we are doing in connection with Rated HBCU. We are in a program with them, and we are trying to work on our licensing from with the AV. We eventually want to be in a bookstore. Our store is still open. For those of you that know where we came from, we were Wildcat Warehouse before we were the AV, and we backed away from t-shirts and apparel and went more purpose, but the shop is still there. So please do me a favor, either stop in the shop, buy you something, or check out this shirt. This is a licensed tee. It's fully licensed. So we have the seal on there. We got permission to use it, so we're all good there. Nobody think we riding dirty on our stuff. So yeah, that's that. And so we get to our presidential search update, and let me tell you guys something. Things have gotten pretty interesting pretty quickly. First, I want to commend John Crossman and Pete Gamble and Jeffrey Branch for their continued transparency on this whole thing. I went back and looked at the presidential search, the timeline, and just so you all know, right? We started, and I've got everything checked off that we've done. They started March 3rd. They had the first meeting, and then March 14th, they developed the profile for the search. And then March 24th and 25th, they did the listening sessions. They did one more that next week that was virtual. I actually attended that one because I couldn't get to the two in person. And then we scoot ahead. They get the nominees and they start to develop the pool of applicants. And now we are at a point where they've got a number. They've got not a slate that they've getting to the board, but they've got their top X amount. That number appears to be 14, and I think most of the candidates, from what I've heard, are super duper strong candidates. And I think that one of the things, as I was talking with John Crossman last night, one of the things he told me, and that he wanted to make sure that I relayed to the alumni, was that there was 135 applicants, and most of the applicants and the referrals were sent in by alumni. And so, you all did a really good job of us. I'm saying us, but of helping the institution field candidates. And I don't know if I can share this. I have some intel, and there's also another school that is also looking for a president. I won't say who it is. There's another school that is also looking for a president. You can use your deductive reasoning to figure out who that is. And that school didn't have, we doubled the amount of applicants from what I've heard from that particular school. So that says a couple of things, that the interest in the presidency was super high, but also the alumni did a really good job of getting people getting candidates referred to the job. So I'm telling you, we're gonna get a good candidate. I know some of the names. And it's just from here. Some of it is hearsay. I don't want to jeopardize the search committee. I don't want to jeopardize the board and the search committee. But let's just say I've heard some names that are a part of this slate of candidates, and there's some good names. There's a couple in particular, a bit surprising, if it's true, because I haven't seen any of it. I haven't seen any applicants with my own eyes. I've just heard things. And here's why I don't want to share the names that I heard, because number one, I don't want a person who might be who may be like applying and they may work somewhere else. They may still have their current job. I don't want to start a rumor. I don't want to start the leaks about a candidate that may be going through the process, because that could get kind of ugly, and I don't want to be in the middle of that. So I'm not going to share no names. But there are definitely a couple of names that I've heard that are really, really strong candidates, if they are indeed candidates. And so I think we ought to feel really good about where we are with respect to the search. Again, John Crossman and his team. And listen, we've got alumni. We've got a good slate of, not a good slate, but a good amount of alumni that are on the board. And one of the things that John Crossman told me, I asked him about the process, and he basically told me that they're running a really, really, really a thorough and a really, really, really tight ship when it comes to like getting through the people. And I think they had the 135 names at one point, and then they whittled that down. And from what I know, each of the board members, and this is directly from John Crossman, he told me this, that they required each committee member to watch, I think it was 14 hours of applicant interviews. And so everybody had to watch quite a bit of interviews to be able to rank and to give their rankings. And so it wasn't like they're sitting in the room and everybody's just kind of fighting over who should be on the list. Like, they actually had a rubric, they had rankings, and it seems like they did it as transparent as it could possibly be and as fair as it could possibly be. I don't know the means and the methods with the search committee. Like, I don't not the search committee, but the search firm. I don't know what their methods are and how and why they do certain things. But just know that they have done, I think, a bang up job thus far. Now, they got to get a good candidate in there, because this will all be for naught if there is, if we don't get a person in there that we feel like is the best candidate. And there's, again, from what I hear, there's a really, really strong slate of candidates that I think we're going to get. It's just a matter of, when are we going to hear about them? When are we going to see them? And I think we're a couple of weeks away from that. I believe they are looking to get 3 names or 3, 4, 5 names to send to the board within a couple of weeks. I think maybe it's 3, but I know they're looking to whittle it down in the coming days and then start on-campus interviews where they'll come to the campus, check out everything. I think they'll let them talk to some folk and get a feel for what's happening. So, it's things are looking up. And listen, they're moving kind of quickly, and they said they would from jump. They said that they did not want to waste any time, and there's pros and cons to that, right? The drawback to them moving fast is if you don't get it right, then what's gonna happen? Everybody's gonna say, well, they rushed to get a president in there. That's kind of the drawback. But if you the positive is we don't have to wait another year. We've already been waiting 4 years for a replacement from Cricht. So I don't think anybody had the appetite to sit through another 9-10 months of a presidential search over the rest of this year. And it kind of makes sense, the timing. You want to get somebody in there at the end of this school year so they can start fresh, over the summer. They can ease into the job in August and get rolling. So I think the timing sets up nicely. And here's to us getting and hiring the best person for the job. Again, who that's going to be, I don't know. There's somebody I wish I could talk to you all about tonight, but I just can't. And that'll come out. Y'all quiet tonight. Y'all are quiet, but that's okay. So before we go, and listen, I'm not doing. I won't go until 9 tonight because I'm still feeling. You may hear it in my voice, so I'm still feeling a little way. But I got to share something with y'all. Over the last, let's say, 7, 8 years, maybe not 7. Let's say 5 or 6 years, the institution has been in a cold war with its students, with its alumni, with the administration. Like, there's just been this cold war that we've kind of been in. And there wasn't a lot of communication happening from the alumni to the school to the alumni. And there was some communication with the institution and the students. But if we're being honest, one end of that was a bit disingenuous. And I think y'all kind of understand where I'm going with that. And so I think we are at a point now where there seems to have been like a softening of this Cold War between all of the factions. It seems like there's a little bit more communication happening inter-school in inter-party. Alumni, you're starting to see them collab with the board on the search committee again, right? You're seeing the students talking to the alumni, and you're seeing the alumni back kind of talking to the school. I think there's still a lot of work that has to be done with the alumni in the school, but you're starting to see a softening there. And here's why I say that, because I think it's important that we continue the momentum that we're on. And what I don't want to have happen is I don't want the presidential search for that to turn into a black eye on the institution. And here's what I mean by that. Somebody is not going to be happy with whomever that person will be. Like, somebody's going to be pissed off that their guy didn't get the job or their gal didn't get the job. But I want to share something with y'all. Bethune-Cookman University is not its president. We are not the president. We are not our president. We don't go and come with our our president. We are so much bigger than that, right? We're our founder, like the blood of our founder runs through all of us, the ones who have gone through the institution. But what we have to remember is that having a leader or not having a leader at the helm, a good one or bad one, should not affect our ability as alumni, students, faculty, staff to continue to uphold and drive the legacy of our school forward. That's what happened to us over the last 10 years. We became our presidency. We became the unstableness of our presidency. And that should never be the case. The president should come in and he should know the second he steps foot on campus, he's working on behalf of us now. Not us trying to do things to appease a leader or a person or whomever that may be. Like, we got to know that our resolve, our strength, our power doesn't lie in the person who runs the school. It lies in the people, the kids, the alumni, the faculty, the staff, the people that run the school. Like, all of our collective power and strength is generated through us, not through the president. So don't let the hiring of this president be our end all be all, because we gotta keep rolling. If this president is good or if this next president is bad, we still have a school and a legacy to uphold, whether they're there or not. So I know a lot of people are hinging a lot of how they feel and their actions on what happens over the next couple of months with the presidency. And I just don't want us to get caught up in a situation where maybe it's a person that we don't think it should be, or maybe that person turns out in a year and a half to not be the president we thought, that we go into this hole or we go back into this funk that we were in, and all we do is we just further damage the school. That happened to us over the last 7 or 8 years, and we let what's his name, Jackson, drive us away. Then Crack came and brought some energy, but then we also let, I'm gonna say this, but people like Belvin Perry drive a wedge. That's one person that we let do a lot of damage to our school. 2 people, if you include Edison Jackson. We can't let 2 people destroy the legacy of 125 years. Like, we just can't. And so I feel like we owe it to ourselves to make sure that we've got what we need to have in place, and that we're prepared with our resources and our time and our dollars and our effort and our talents to drive the school forward. That's part of the reason why I do this show every week and why I got the AV and why we're doing what we're doing, because I don't want nobody to be able to come in here and tell me about my school. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think it's important. I think it's very, very, very important that we don't get too hung up. I know we need a president. Yes, I'm not saying we don't need a president. But what I'm saying is that should not determine how we support our school, when we support our school, and in which ways we support our school. Because that the new president could be an absolute dud. That shouldn't affect how we treat our school. We'll do what we got to do. If this next person don't work, guess what? I'm gonna be the first person on this mic right here asking that person to resign. Sorry, we can't use you. We thought you was the person. I guess we got to go back to the drawing board. Like, we can do that. We can replace a president. Listen, if we can't do nothing else, I know we can replace a president. We better than that than anybody else in history. We did 7 presidents in 10 years. We know how to do that. So my point is, let's just make sure that we are not allowing the selection of our next president dictate our actions. This is our school, period. All right. And so I don't have a whole lot after that, y'all. I'm going to go back to one thing. This shirt, I want to make sure I pub this to you all. And listen, go ahead and get the shirt, man. It's going to go. And listen, once the orders stop and they're gone, the shirts are gone. The link is in the bio on Instagram. I think it's also on Facebook. And I'm trying to think. Next week, or it's either next week or the week after. I got to confirm. I'm going to have one of the track coaches. We never talk about track, but she's been chatting with me over the last couple of weeks, and we talked about getting something together. The track team is actually doing really, really well too. They got a big tournament coming up, and I want to make sure that we highlight not just baseball, football, basketball, volleyball, but track too, because they doing their thing. And let's see what we got. Oh yeah, y'all president signed a new executive order yesterday about HBCU's alum and supporters have to support and keep supporting BCU. Yes, I made this point earlier in the call. I mean, in the podcast, that they sign whatever executive order, but if you go in and read that executive order by Trump and his people, it was all silent whispers. Like it was a bunch of nothing, and it was a lot of stuff that they brought from the first term that they're just bringing over to this term. And again, we just got to make sure we got our house in order, because I don't trust this administration to leave us alone for over the next 2 or 3 years. So we got to make sure we doing what we can do. Ms. Tundra, you said no, the lawsuit drove the wedge. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The lawsuit drove the wedge. I'm just talking about in general. Wedges were definitely pushed in between a lot of the factions of the school, and so it definitely matters. So yeah, I'm not gonna hold y'all tonight. I'm still feeling a little funky, and I just wanted to come and talk to y'all mainly about the presidential search. We got another show next week again. I think we're gonna have the track coach on, and we may have John Crossman on next week. He and I will get together and see if he wants to come on and talk to you all. I think we're due. I've already queued up. We'll have Trusty. This is an early teaser, but I've already put some time aside for Trusty Jeff Branch and Pete Gamble early June. So just look forward for those to happen. And I think that's all I got, y'all. I know I normally go until 9. Again, I'm not feeling the greatest. But I did want to come and talk to y'all about the search. For those of you that missed my dialogue on the presidential search, just hit the rewind button. Follow us, subscribe. As always, if you want to contribute to the show, you can do so online, and at the HBCU is our Cash App. And I just want to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything, and I don't think I am. If I do, I'll post it. But I appreciate y'all for another great episode, and we look to see you all next week. Same time. Hail Wildcats. All hail to thee. Peace.